Hey, what's up guys? My name is Spartan, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a brief guide here on target priority. So I'm going to be telling you guys the personal setup that I use, as well as kind of give you some things to think about with regard to how you adjust it going from farming runs and tournament runs. So without further ado, let's get this video started. So if you're a complete beginner and have no idea what the heck target priority is, you can read on the screen right here, but it basically allows you to select which enemy that the tower attacks first. And as you can see here, it adds a button down at the bottom of the screen to select the specific enemy. There are 2 levels of target priority, and you unlock target priority labs at tier 4 wave 150. And because there's 2 levels, I think it's only fair I tell you what you get with each level. First and foremost, with level 1, it basically allows you to select one specific enemy that you can then target. So if you really don't like protector enemies, you can select that, or you can just leave it at closest if you'd like to do that. If you're struggling with elites and vampires killing you, you can target elites, and that will take care of the vampires. Whatever your goal is, target priority lab level number 1 basically just lets you select one type of enemy to kill. Target priority 2 is what you're currently looking at here, and it's what I have unlocked and would recommend to you as well. And this effectively allows you to make a priority list, target priority, in the order that you want enemies to die. So you can see this is the setup that I have been using to farm with. I have protectors all the way at the top because protectors, obviously, they just block the rest of the enemies from getting damaged and therefore keep me from making coins. So I have protectors, fasts next, ranged enemies, basic enemies, then tank, boss, elites, in spotlight, and last but not least, closest. So this is a setup here that I have been using basically for the past week now. And shout out to JP978. He's another tower content creator here on YouTube. He actually suggested that I try this layout, and I will say I have seen a little bit of improvement in terms of my coins per minute, and it's been pretty interesting to kind of look at. So what I was running before and saw less coins per minute was I had bosses all the way up at the top, then protectors, then in spotlight, and last but not least, closest. So let me try to give you a little bit of rationale with why I have this the way that I have it. First and foremost, obviously the protectors, we kind of already touched on that, but they absolutely suck. Some of the middle stuff is not really as important, but really closer to the bottom here, this is where it really becomes important. So bosses, elites, and tank enemies. In particular, the really important things that I have here, even below basic enemies, is tanks and elite enemies. And the reason for that is so that I can give my death wave enough time to basically activate, tag all of those enemies with the waves, and then all of my damage stuff kills them. That's sort of the rationale with why I'm running it this way. And like I mentioned beforehand, I was running stuff in Spotlight way higher up in the priority list. But what I found, and you can actually kind of see here, my spotlights are not always inside of my black holes. So only targeting things in Spotlight whenever I was farming with Blender at 69.5 range, my black holes were a lot smaller than they are right now, and therefore, if I was only targeting stuff inside of the Spotlights, I would maximize the Spotlight coin bonus, but not always maximize the coin bonus for the black hole. But I would not necessarily maximize the black hole and death wave coin bonus. But yeah, that's why I have it set up this way, and it has worked pretty well for me in terms of farming. I'll just kind of let it up here on the screen so that you can see sort of the coins per minute that I'm running here on tier 9. And I will say, what I was making before I switched to Orbless and before I adjusted my target priority was significantly less than this. I think at this point I would have been making maybe a peak at like 40 bill per minute. And you can see right now I'm averaging way closer to the 50 bill per minute mark. So that just kind of goes to show not only the farming strategy that you choose to use is important, but also there are small, what would be considered micro factors, such as your target priority, that can in fact make a pretty massive difference. So just keep that in mind. But now that I've actually showed you guys basically what I use for farming, let me go ahead and adjust what I have for my Legends tournament. So this is actually the target priority that I have been using recently in my tournament runs that you guys may see on the stream. I am running bosses all the way at the top, followed by fast enemies, followed by ranged, then elites, then protectors, tanks, basics, and last but not least, closest. So yeah, I've been running this for a couple reasons, but the reason I have fast so high up on the list is because my attack speed is only about level 50. So what I generally will die to the most in my tournament runs is either a boss or a fast enemy, which is why I have them all the way at the top of my target priority. I have ranged after that so that I don't get accidentally sniped. That would be embarrassing. I also have elites in there because in the event that, like in my Legends tournaments, if a scatter made it all the way to my tower, it could potentially one-shot me. If a vampire came up to my tower when I don't have wall and I don't have energy shields, it could fairly easily just wreck my run right there. So that's why I personally have it set here. But what I would say is try to figure out which enemies you're actually dying to, both in farming runs and tournament runs, and have that, whatever the type of enemy is, say that it's a fast enemy, consider having that high up in the target priority and see if it makes a difference. I would be willing to bet it just might. But yeah, guys, I highly encourage you to not necessarily just get tunnel visioned on a specific target priority. Like if somebody's telling you, hey, you have to absolutely do this, you know, there's nothing wrong with absolutely testing it, but take information that you hear from people on Discord or even like YouTube videos like myself, take the information that you receive with a grain of salt. Ultimately, try things, test things out, and do what you end up kind of thinking is best for your tower. I mean, that's how I have sort of done my whole game whenever I'm playing this game. Because this whole game is about trying different things, upgrading different things, and, you know, figuring out what works for you and your own tower. What works for me might look totally different than what works for you. And a lot of that has to do with what you have going on in the labs. It has to do with what modules you're using, what strategy that you're using. There's so many variables, and I would argue that there's too many variables to really put a blanket statement on target priority and say, hey, this is the best you can do, so do this, you know? But more or less, the main takeaways from this video is do some testing, try some different target priorities and see what gives you the highest coins per minute. And one way that you can test that is do a farming run in whatever tier that you normally farm. Get to around, 500 to 1,000 waves with one set of target priority, and then repeat the process with whatever you're trying to test. That way you can kind of compare the coins per minute with the two together. And I will say, whenever you do tests like that, just be advised, try not to take any perks, because perks can obviously influence that. If you have like the coin trade-off, if you have the golden tower bonus, like there's a lot of stuff with the perks that can basically affect or skew the results of your tests. So whenever I do a test, I will not take any perks, and I'll just, go to 500 to 1,000 waves and just basically see what works for me. And that's what I've done a whole lot. And if somebody recommends something and says that it's worked for them, there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying that. So once again, I'll throw it up on the screen here. This is the target priority that I have been sort of rolling with for the past week, and it's been yielding me some pretty decent results here. So with that, I will say, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to let me know down in the comments section below. If you would like to reach out to me specifically, or directly, I should say, feel free to join our community Discord server. We've got quite a few people in there, and we talk about all things tower related. It's really been a cool kind of experience watching this server develop and grow, and we are constantly working on it. Like right now, we are very close to getting our server boosted to level 2, which I didn't even know that was a thing until like a couple days ago. But once we do that, I'm gonna figure out how to add like some custom emojis for roles and stuff like that. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes with the Discord that I'm pretty excited about that hopefully we can get going pretty quick. But yeah, if you're not already a member, feel free to join there. Link will be in the description towards sort of the bottom of the video. But yeah, that's where I generally reside most of the time these days. And with that, I think that's going to conclude today's video. But huge thanks to all of you guys for subscribing and liking and just doing all the YouTube stuff. You guys are great. I really appreciate you. And I hope that this video was able to bring some value to you guys. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't, but you know, it is what it is. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys there. But like always, I will see you guys later.